Yo guys, hello everyone. I'm back. This is Akshay Archak teaching chemistry on Let's Crack YouTube channel. Okay, so those who already follow these videos or these series, they know me. Okay, I'm there to clear all your doubts or myths in chemistry. For those who are new, okay, welcome to Let's Crack YouTube chemistry channel. Okay, I've started a new chemistry channel to clear all your doubts. Okay, that fear of chemistry which you people have, especially studying organic chemistry. So here you can see some chemicals. What I can see is active nitric acid is there is ammonium hydroxide. Okay, so these are chemicals which we use in our lab for doing various reactions. So let's proceed further. So today we are going to talk about ambident nucleophiles. Today we'll see about SN1 SN2 reaction, and make sure you stay till the end of the video because today something interesting we are going to discuss. Okay, in the last class we spoke about reactions of haloalkanes. We started with your nucleophilic substitution reaction. I showed you a table and I gave you a question to solve. Okay, so watch my previous video and give the answer of that in-text question in the comment section. And please guys, stay till the end of this video. It's going to be very important and useful for your board exams 2021. Okay, so ambident nucleophiles. What are ambident nucleophiles? Nucleophiles possessing two nucleophilic centers are called as ambident nucleophiles. Okay, so which have two nucleophilic centers, that means they can donate from the first center as well as from the second center. So possessing two nucleophilic centers, they are called as ambident nucleophiles. For example, cyanides and nitrites. So cyanides, you know, C triple bond N. So in some reactions what happens, carbon donates electrons, it acting as nucleophilic center. In some other reactions your nitrogen donates. So cyanide is having two nucleophilic centers. Yesterday I explained what is a nucleophile. Okay, so if you missed my previous video, I will give you the link in the description box, and make sure you go watch it if you want to score good marks in your chemistry board exam for class 12. So this is one solved example as I tell in every session. Okay, solved examples, in text questions and unsolved questions of NCERT are very important. All the conversions, name reactions, numericals come from these only. If you have done this along with some previous year CBSE question papers, there's no need to refer any other book. Okay, just do these and refer some previous year 5 to 10 year previous question papers chapter wise. You're sorted for chemistry, and believe me guys, this is my personal experience. Okay, I'm a class 12 pass out student. This is my personal experience I'm sharing with you guys. Take it as a advice from my side. Okay, so example 10.5, haloalkanes react with KCN, means your potassium cyanide, to form alkyl cyanides as the main product, while AgCN forms isocyanides as the chief product. Why? This is a repeated 2-mark question. Okay, in your board exams they frequently ask this in your school exams also. Okay, so why? Let me explain you. KCN is an ionic compound. When you put KCN in aqueous solution, it furnishes ions as K plus and Cn minus. Now here Cn minus, okay, in Cn minus what is going to happen? Okay, what is going to happen is, you can see there's a solution given. Okay, the carbon, okay, the carbon can donate electrons. Here carbon is free to donate electrons because KCN is a ionic compound. Okay, so carbon is free to donate electrons. So here cyanide is formed as a major product. Whenever the attack of the nucleophilic attacks takes place through carbon, it is the product formed as cyanide. Okay, then what about AgCN? AgCN, okay, when you put it in aqueous solution, the bond between Ag and C is a covalent bond. You can see AgCN is mainly covalent in nature, and here since carbon is involved in covalent bonding, carbon cannot donate electrons. So who comes to the rescue of carbon? It is nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen donates electron. So whenever the nucleophilic attack takes place through nitrogen, it is called as isocyanide, or we say nitroalkanes. Okay, so if the nucleophilic attacks takes place through carbon, it is called as cyanide, but if it takes place through nitrogen, okay, it is called as isocyanide or nitroalkanes. Repeated, this example 10.5 is repeated in your board exams frequently, so please understand this. No need to mug up. Okay, very simple concept. Next, reactions of haloalkanes part 2. Yesterday we saw the introduction, today we'll go in detail. Okay, so SN1 okay, first one is in nucleophilic substitution reaction we have two types. We have SN1 and SN2. SN1 is called as unimolecular substitution reaction. Okay, SN1 reactions are generally carried out in the presence of polar protic solvents like water, alcohol. You may ask, what is this fancy word, polar protic solvents? Polar protic solvents means which can easily give proton. Polar protic, okay, which can easily give proton, like your water is there, alcohol is there, many other solvents are there. Okay, now you will ask, what is the example? Example is the reaction between tertiary butyl bromide and hydroxide ion yields tertiary butyl alcohol as seen in the above reaction. You can see a picture. I have taken it, this clip is from the NCERT. Okay, believe me guys, you can trust me in this. I am only referring your NCERT, which is very important for board exams. Okay, not only boards, other competitive exams like JEE Main, JEE Advanced, NEET, very important NCERT for as far as chemistry is concerned. Okay, so your tertiary butyl bromide, its IUPAC name is 2-bromo-2-methylpropane, which is the hydroxide ion. It attacks, okay, here there is two attack possible. I'll tell you in the next slide. Okay, what do you mean by this attack? So when this OH nucleophile attacks from the carbon, you get 2-methylpropan-2-ol. Okay, next important point, SN1 reactions always follow first order kinetics. Okay, you will learn in the chemical kinetic chapter what do you mean by first order kinetics, second order kinetics, but for now the rate of the reaction, okay, first order kinetics are those where the rate of the reaction only depends on the alkyl halide. Okay, it will only depend on the alkyl halide, it does not depend on the incoming nucleophile. Okay, now this reaction is very simple, no need to be scared of this reaction. SN1 reaction always occurs in two steps. Now so let's see what are those two steps. You can think that mechanism, it's a mechanism, these two steps make up the mechanism of your SN1 reaction. Step 1. In step 1, the carbon halogen bond is broken, which leads to the formation of the carbocation, and the halogen atom comes out as the halide ion. Okay, I have told you in my previous video what is the nature of the carbon halogen bond. If you have missed it, please do go watch it. Very important concept, okay, which is an important part of physical properties. Okay, I will give you the link in the description box below. Okay, so what is the first step? The first step is your this tertiary carbon compound, the carbon halogen bond breaks, and you can see there is a tertiary carbon carbocation formed. Okay, and the Br comes out as Br minus. Okay, carbon having positive charge or negative charge is highly unstable, it cannot tolerate. Okay, carbon being neutral, only it is stable. The moment it gets any positive charge or negative charge, it is highly unstable. Okay, so the first step is the cleavage of the carbon halogen bond. So whenever the carbon halogen bond cleaves, carbon gets a positive charge. Okay, you can see in the product side there is a carbocation formed, it is a tertiary carbocation. Okay, you can see the central tri-junction, okay, where the positive charge marked, there is a carbocation. Okay, and there are three other carbon attached, so it becomes a tertiary carbocation, and the bromine comes as Br minus, we say bromide. Okay, I hope this is clear. This is the first step. Step 2. In the second step, the carbocation is formed by the the carbocation formed is attacked by the nucleophile, and the substitution reaction gets completed. Now I've written front attack, it can be front attack also, it can be back attack also, we'll see why. Okay, so in the second step what is going to happen is this nucleophile OH minus, okay, it will attack on this carbon, and whatever positive charge was there, it will nullify it. Okay, once the positive charge is nullified, carbon also becomes stable, and you will have this tertiary butyl alcohol being formed. So the first step is the attack of the breakage of the carbon halogen bond. Okay, where a tertiary carbocation is being formed, carbon having positive or negative charge, very unstable, and the halogen atom comes out as halide. So here it is bromine, it comes out as bromide. Okay, the second step, the attack of the nucleophile on this carbon atom, which nullifies the positive charge and makes the carbon atom stable. So you get a tertiary butyl alcohol being formed. So these two steps are the SN1 reaction. That is it. Your SN1 reaction is completed here. First step is the breakage of CX bond. Second step is the attack of the nucleophile. Now, features of SN1 reaction. First one, proceeds via racemization. Second, okay, in the next video when we talk about optical activity, we'll see what is racemization. Second, stability of the carbocation is an important factor. Yes, very important. Okay, here if there's a tertiary carbocation formed, it's the most stable. Secondary carbocation formed, bit less stable. Primary carbocation formed, the least stable. You know what is the reason? Okay, so stability of the carbocation is an important factor. Next, I already told you it is a first order chemical reaction. It needs a polar protic solvent. Yes, you can use alcohols, carboxylic acids, water, basically which gives proton in the aqueous medium. Okay. Before moving further, guys, please like, share and subscribe. This is happening for you. These efforts are being done by me, okay, for you, for to help everyone who are who need, okay, in this lockdown. So please, yeah, like, share and subscribe. Okay, and how you found the video? Was it very useful? Okay, any suggestions you want to give, please do so in the comment section below. I personally read all the comments. Next, we have SN2, which is called as bimolecular substitution reaction. Okay, so the reaction between methyl chloride and a hydroxide ion is an example of SN2 reaction. It does not mean you should take only methyl chloride. You can take any other alkyl halide. It's just an example I've given. The reaction between methyl chloride and a hydroxide ion is an example of SN2 reaction. SN2 reaction always follows a second order kinetics. Okay, that means the rate of the reaction depends not only on the alkyl halide but also on the incoming nucleophile. This reaction completes in one single step. Your SN1 completes in two steps, SN2 completes in one step. You can remember like ulta pulta. SN1 means two steps, SN2 means one step. The nucleophile does a back attack in this reaction. This is a most important point as to why. Why? Because here you see there is the central the junction you can see here. Okay, in CHCl3 there are three hydrogens attached. One is the wedge, the dashed one is going away from the observer and the wedge one is coming towards us, and there is a chlorine attached. Okay, so there is much of steric hindrance. Steric hindrance means what? Crowding. Okay, imagine in a room you are making to sit 100 people. In another room you are adjusting 25 people. So obviously the first room where 100 people are sitting, it's more crowded, right? It's more congested. The same thing here, the same logic. Okay, so here this carbon is very much crowded, that we say steric hindrance. Steric hindrance is more. So as a result, what will happen? Okay, this OH minus will find it difficult to attack. More is the steric hindrance, it is very difficult for the OH minus to attack. So once this OH minus attacks, you see carbon is making 5 bonds. Is it possible? No. From class 10 we have been studying carbon cannot make 5 bonds. Okay, so what happens? The moment OH minus attacks, this Cl comes out as Cl minus. This between compound, the second compound which you can see, it is called as the adduct or the transition state, or we can say intermediate. So this will rearrange itself and this Cl minus will come out, giving you this alcohol. So this is a two-step reaction. First step is the formation of the adduct or the transition state. Second step is the coming out of the halogen as the Cl minus ion. Next, effect of steric hindrance on the nucleophile. Okay, so here you can see a primary, if you see this one has less steric hindrance because less number of groups are attached to it. If you take secondary, okay, secondary you can see here isopropyl, see the steric hindrance how much it is, and tertiary you see maximum steric hindrance, how many hydrogens are attached, how many carbons are there. Okay, so the rate of the reaction is the least for a tertiary alkyl halide because there is maximum steric hindrance. It is medium for a secondary alkyl halide and it is fastest for the primary alkyl halide. Why? Because the steric hindrance is least. In SN2, one important point we should remember is lesser is the steric hindrance, the easy it is for the nucleophile to attack, and the more faster the nucleophile attacks on the carbon, the more faster is the reaction. You can see the order. Primary halide is faster reactive, then a bit less is secondary, and the least is tertiary. Why? Because there is maximum steric hindrance, thus the nucleophile finds very difficult to attack. This is the ball stick form I've taken. You can see the similar concept in different your stick and ball form. They have shown your SN2 reaction. Okay, features of SN2 reaction. Okay, it is a single step reaction. I told you before. This proceeds via inversion of configuration. As I told before, racemization and inversion of configuration I will teach when we go for optical activity. Steric hindrance is an important factor. Yes, you can see in the previous slide, okay, which is the fastest reactive, primary, and the least reactive is tertiary. Then does not need any polar protic solvent. This does not need any polar protic solvent. Even if a single nucleophile is present, that's enough. The reaction will go on. It is a second order kinetics. You can see that the rate depends on the incoming nucleophile and the alkyl halide. So if in exam, normally they ask you the difference between SN1 SN2. SN1 reaction, it is a two-step reaction. First step, there is a formation of carbocation. Second step, the attack of the nucleophile. SN2 is a single step reaction. Okay, it's a single step reaction. SN1 proceeds via racemization, whereas SN2 proceeds via inversion of configuration. In SN1, stability I've written here in the previous slide. Okay, stability of the carbocation is an important factor for SN1 reaction, whereas for SN2 reaction, steric hindrance is a very important factor. Okay, SN1 is a first order kinetics, SN2 is a second order kinetics. Okay, that means the rate of the SN2 reaction depends on the incoming nucleophile as well as the concentration of the alkyl halide or the haloalkane. Okay, so that's what I took it from the NCERT. You can see for SN2 what is the reactivity shown, and for SN1 it is the opposite way. You know what is the reason. Next, a small note you should know about allylic and benzylic halides. Okay, allylic and benzylic halides should show higher reactivity towards SN1 because there is the formation of carbocation. Okay, and if carbocation is formed, allylic and benzylic, they contain double bonds. So wherever double bonds is there, you will have your resonance effect happening. So even if a carbocation is formed, there is no problem because your resonance effect will stabilize the carbocation. So if they ask you, okay, normally this 1 mark, it comes as 1 mark question in your board exams. Okay, why do allylic and benzylic halides show high reactivity towards SN1 reaction? Mainly because they form carbocation which is stabilized by the resonance happening. And this is also very important, guys. The last point, for a given alkyl group, the reactivity of the halide follows the same order for both the mechanisms. This order is same for SN1 reaction as well as SN2 reaction. Okay, these type of questions you have in your NCERT back exercises. Okay, arrange in the increasing order of SN1 reactivity or SN2 reactivity. This RI, RBR, RCl, RF, the order is same for SN1 SN2. Why is RI reactive? Okay, iodine is a very bulky group. R means carbon. Carbon is very small group. So carbon cannot hold on to iodine for a long time because iodine is a very bulky group, so it will come out very easily the moment a nucleophile attacks. On the contrary, RF is very least reactive because the size of the carbon atom and fluorine are quite comparable. So fluorine does not want to leave carbon fastly the way iodine wants to leave. Okay, this order is very important and it is same for both SN1 and SN2 reactions. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Okay, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, okay, to get notified each time I'm online or each time I post a video. Okay, see you soon. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. Bye everyone.